A very good evening to you and welcome to Sports Tonight Live. I've told you before, a fizzing firecracker of a show. It's more than that tonight. The most sensational news you've ever heard in a lifetime. Fabio Capello has quit as England manager. Yes, that's what I said. Fabio Capello has quit as England manager, and you heard it first here on Sports Tonight Live. We brought you that directly from our moles inside Wembley Stadium, the offices of the Football Association. It's now happened. He stepped down. We don't have an England manager. What drama on a day when Harry Redknapp was cleared by a jury of any offences against the Crown and is now free to step into the shoes of the England manager. It is sensational stuff. It is reverberating all around the football world, and we are going to be on top of it for the next 3 hours, and we want you to stay with us. In the studio with me tonight, thank God, I've got men with passion, with knowledge, with inside information. And I've also got Perry Groves.
I'm going to say, it definitely ain't me. I've got no knowledge, no inside information. We did say yesterday on last night's show that there could be an impasse today when he meets David Bernstein.
We certainly did.
Exactly what's happened.
We certainly did.
So it should be street parties. This could be bigger than the Queen's Jubilee.
Also in the studio with me, Aidan MAGEE. Aidan, I mean, this time last night, we had Harry still in abeyance with a jury out, and we had Fabio Capello still in a job. What a dramatic 24 hours.
Absolutely. Well, I spoke to Fergie the other night on the red carpet at the Laureus Sports Awards, and he was backing the manager, and he said that he's entitled to his opinion, and he said that he's the most important person in the structure. But he clearly wasn't important enough for the FA because they completely bypassed him on his decision. When he got a track record and the pedigree that Capello has, he's not going to stand for that.
Unbelievable. And thirdly, in the studio with me for the early part of the show, Russ Wiseman, Sporting Bet. Russ, thank you very much indeed for coming in. I mean, initially, we're going to ask you silly questions like who is going to win the Middlesbrough versus the North East derby, Middlesbrough versus Sunderland in the replay of the fourth round of the FA Cup. I don't care now. I want to know. I want to know who is going to be the next England manager.
Well, Mike, as you know, I'm a well-prepared man, a well-read man, but I feel cheated and absolutely turned over here. No idea what's going to happen. But clearly, this has thrown the markets into complete turmoil. There's managers being back now for all kinds of jobs, even in the last few minutes. We're suspending markets, we're reopening them. It's a pretty tumultuous time in the world of bookmaking after this kind of news.
OK, so listen, this is the stage of the show tonight. With you for 3 hours up till 10:30. We're going to talk to you about Middlesbrough and Sunderland. We're going to talk to you about all sorts of issues like why Swansea players go out and get themselves drunk and talk to Swansea fans about that. All the issues that cover football, including, of course, the John Terry situation. But now it's all about the England manager. It's sensational. It's a fizzing firecracker. And we are going to give you every single angle we can possibly get. But actually, the most important element of this show always is you, the fans, OK? It's Sports Tonight Live. You can see that on our table there. That's the address. Get up on the Skype ball. We want you to be the fifth member of the panel. I have to count the number of people who've got in the studio at the moment. And the fourth member of the panel when Russ departs a little later on, because this boy's got to do the rounds tonight. He's going to be a very busy man. He's got billions of pounds to think about this evening. Let me start with the professional footballer in the studio, Perry Groves. Perry, Fabio's gone. That means that we need somebody else to be in charge of England. Are you pleased or disappointed? Bearing in mind we're 5 months hence to the European Championships.
Do you know what? I don't think it could have worked out better for English football fans. With Harry Redknapp being acquitted, obviously, of all charges, like today, so it makes him free to take the England job. Fabio Capello resigning, and I think his position was probably made untenable by David Bernstein. And I think he needs to be congratulated, David Bernstein, for taking such a strong stance. Because everybody says about the FA that it's a weak organisation, there's no leadership. He has shown leadership. And the reason I think Capello's resigned is he's a total control freak. And that's what all top managers, Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger, they're all control freaks. They all want their own way. And
but
this
wasn't consulted though, Perry. I mean, if you're not consulted, you're the main man in the operation. You're entitled to be cheesed off. Surely.
No, because they couldn't trust him to make the right decision. He didn't make the right decision with John Terry. He made the right decision in taking the captaincy in the first place because of the surroundings of his personal life. Because it stopped him doing his job. Then he made the wrong decision to give John Terry the captaincy back because John Terry has a record and a history of having controversial circumstances in over the last 10 years. So Fabio Capello made a gross error of judgment. It's taken out of his hands, and also it saved the FA £3 million. So I think it's the best thing that happened in football.
Fine. Aidan,
this so-called golden generation, which has underperformed for so many years.
For a golden generation, I would say.
Precisely. They've now got 6 months or 5 months ahead of the tournament. They've actually realised now, I think there would be belief in the dressing room that they've actually got one last chance to do it. Capello is a top-class manager, sadly only at club level. He hasn't done it at international level. Everyone
he
talks
did it
about
in the qualifying stage of every
cares?
competition.
Have they-
One went
have
out
they
to
had- have they had a
Croatia
single-
and won, you know.
Did you see?
They had one game in Croatia. That's it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The rest of the qualification games have been. You mean they've been playing League One, League Two teams?
You could have been in charge of the qualification
Mike, you could have played up
program,
front.
and we would have qualified.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah,
easiest
you can't
groups.
judge it
Well,
on
listen,
that. You can't
hang
judge it
on.
on
Perry's
that.
made his position absolutely clear. He thinks it's good. I'm on Perry's side here. But Aidan, you said, well, hang on, he wasn't consulted about the
No, I can understand why it's
disposure of the England captain.
you can't
but
have
it
a
wasn't
system.
an issue that a manager needed to be consulted on. This was
Oh,
about
yes, it was.
no, it's about a
When you're-
legal
when you're
issue.
saying-
It's
No,
about
but
a
when
very
you're taking
serious
away,
legal
you're
issue.
telling a manager who can be captain and who can't. You cannot say that's not.
No,
at
you
least
can
worth
say he does
consulting
not.
on it.
No, I'm sorry, Aidan. What the board said to Fabio was, we did not consult you because he was no longer in consideration for the England captaincy's job because of the charges hanging over him. Therefore, it was taken out of your hands.
And the thing is, you can still pull him inside and say, look, this is what we're going to do.
They did.
They did.
Yeah, but are we? And get his opinion on it.
And
He
he
did.
said
He
he
said
said,
he
I'm
didn't
not
agree
for
with
it.
it.
I'm not
The
for
well,
it.
The thing is,
Alright.
in any other job, right, if you're employed by someone and you're in any organisation, you do what your top man tells you. Now, I know that on football matters, he
Providing
should be...
it's a reasonable instruction.
Right, you know, but
And this was a reasonable instruction.
But he should be in charge of all football matters, right, on the pitch.
Yeah.
This wasn't about all football matters on the pitch. It was something to do what went on the pitch, obviously, with at QPR, but was going to be resulting in a court case. So therefore, if your boss who's above you says, this is what we're going to do, I think they would have gone on the long lines of breach of contract because you have to toe the line.
I'm not
If
sure that...
if John Terry played for Manchester United
Yes.
and Alex Ferguson wanted John Terry as his captain, he would be captain.
But
No
that's close.
question about it.
You just made the
Still
distinction.
talking about whether Fergie himself made that point.
No, Aidan,
the most
you
important.
just made the distinction between club
international
football and international football
Exactly.
with Fabio Capello. Listen, fellas, we've got 3 hours to talk about this. I want to bring Ross in. Ross, you're an Evertonian as well as a man who knows more about betting than I will ever find out about astrophysics.
Mickey
I'm
Thomas.
quite bright, you know. But Ross, one of the spin-offs of this is the fact that all day long I've been getting tweets from Evertonians and Spurs fans saying, do you think that if Harry Redknapp becomes the next England manager any time now, will David Moyes go to Spurs? What do we think about that one?
Well, Mike, 15 minutes ago, literally 15 minutes ago, Fabio Capello, this wasn't even on the radar, was it? Harry Redknapp was the 3-1 on favourite to be the next England manager. Now, all of those markets are now suspended, and a whole group of guys now come into the whole fray of the next manager for not only Everton, Spurs. We've got the likes of Jose Mourinho who's declaring that he's going to be coming back to England. Where's he going to end up if he comes to England? There's so many.
But what about Evertonian losing Davy Moyes?
Well, David Moyes is a great chance to go now, isn't he? Let's be honest about it. There's
going
to be, and I know
just say, this is 2 Evertonians mourning a situation that could be. What I'm saying is this: Davy Moyes has given such great service to Everton. If he finds an opportunity in which he feels he's going to advance himself, I would say, Davy, I love you, and with my blessing, you have to improve yourself.
It's 10 years this year, isn't it? As well?
Yeah, you have to.
And if you're Daniel Levy as well, you're looking for the very finest manager to come in who are now, let's be honest, a title-chasing team. You want somebody who's a safe pair of hands. There's no safe pair of hands. And David Moyes is a clear chance.
Aidan, how realistic is it that Davy Moyes might be poached by Spurs?
Well, he has been watched by Spurs. I mean, obviously, any chief executive who thinks they may lose their manager to the England job is going to be looking at kind of shadow targets, and I think David Moyes would fit into that club. I'm not sure. Just trying to have a chat with Perry. I think he makes a good point that maybe his style wouldn't necessarily fit in with the way Spurs fit. But I mean, I was hearing this morning. I was down at the training ground, freezing my proverbials off. Exactly.
You say nuts on this because we're a friendly, family friendly.
I was freezing my nuts off. They're no longer there.
Okay. And, so I've heard that before.
And
it's gelding. It's gelding. It's been gelding.
And I was hearing that they'd actually Tottenham in the event of Harry being in prison today, they were lining up Gus Hiddink to replace him from this week. I wouldn't rule out at the end of the season if Harry does go with England. I wouldn't rule out Gus Hiddink coming in as well.
Okay, so the David Moyes thing might not have as much energy now.
Well, I think he's been on their agenda. I don't think he rule.
Perry,
can I ask
you this, mate? Can I ask you this? You're a Spurs player. You've already played in one Champions League.
Take that back. Do not exactly. I don't even want to think about that.
Apologies, of course. Perry's a gooner. Could you just imagine? All right, let's take any situation. Take any situation in the dressing room where you've played one Champions League campaign already. You're playing amongst a couple of players who could be rated world class. And the manager walks in and says, right, boys, I'm in charge of you now. But this guy's actually not done Champions League since Everton qualified in 4th place many years ago and didn't even get through the qualifying stage.
It's a horrible draw, isn't it?
It was actually. I was in Romania when we got booted out. And so what's the player's attitude towards a manager who walks in who doesn't have the same European experience as them?
He'd get the respect from him straight away because he's proven manager in the Premier League. but I don't think that David Moyes fits Tottenham Hotspur. I don't think it
Yeah,
gels well.
sometimes
Reason being is
style,
because the way that David Moyes sets his teams out, they're very well organised, they're disciplined. They don't play the attractive free-flowing football.
I have to say so, Pay.
Tottenham Hotspur.
But let's look at David Moyes for a second though. When you're using those kind of tools, he gets the best out of players.
No, he gets.
And you're saying, I mean, you can't actually make these guys. I mean, Mike knows it better than I do. He's watched them for longer than me. But this is a team that have to play simple. They just don't.
No, they don't. No, I don't agree.
If you put Moyes in that situation with great ability players, he may be different.
I'm really sorry. I've seen Everton play at Goodison Park, and he still persists to playing one up front. If you ask Evertonians who go in, week out, they will say to you, okay, I don't mind being organised, I don't mind being hard to break down, but we need to be more attacking going forward. And he goes on the safety first sort of football, right? So he doesn't play two people up front. I actually think if Spurs want to keep their top international players, David Moyes, you wouldn't stay for David Moyes. If it was Gus Hiddink, I think the likes of Modric and the Van der Vaart might stay. But I don't think that. And the other thing as well, if Harry Redknapp goes, as a Gooner, I think it'll be great because I think the top players want to leave.
Come on, fellas, bit of discipline here tonight, please. We're all very excited. We want to talk, okay? Next up, we're going to look at the Middlesbrough-Sunderland situation. There is only one story in town. Fabio Capello has quit. In 5 seconds, sum up good or bad, Fabio Capello's gone, please.
It's magnificent.
Right, in 5 seconds, Aidan.
Long term, I think, for the better. He didn't do that very well as England coach.
Ross, in 5 seconds.
England have a better chance of winning the Euros with Fabio Capello gone. No doubt about it.
Fabio?
I forgot who he was. Good. Right,
thank you very much indeed. Right, don't go anywhere, please. We're with you right the way through to 10:30. It's going to be, I swear to you, a flipping, fizzing firecracker of a show. Back with you very soon. Just a short break. Stay ahead of the game with Sports Tonight Live. Don't miss a thing. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Search for Sports Tonight Live on Facebook and like our fan page. Follow Sports Tonight TV on Twitter and tweet us your thoughts and opinions. Sports Tonight Live, it's the platform for the fans.